Dusk settled, unease coiled in my gut. The old asylum loomed, a silhouette against the dying light. Wind howled through the skeletal trees. A warning. I shouldn't be here, not after what happened. But something drew me back. A need to understand, to face the shadows. My breath caught in my throat. A figure flickered in a broken window, just a trick of the light. My pulse quickened. The iron gates groaned open. I stepped inside, the taste of fear sharp on my tongue. I was trapped. The air hung heavy, thick with the scent of decay and something else, something cold and menacing. Dust motes danced in the weak beam of my flashlight. Each footstep echoed in the cavernous halls. Walls peeled, revealing layers of faded paint and crumbling plaster. The ghosts of screams lingered. I reached the main common room. Rusted medical equipment lay scattered, a chilling reminder of the building's past. The air grew colder. My flashlight sputtered. Darkness threatened to consume me. Panic surged. I was losing my grip on reality. A sound, a soft whisper, barely audible. I froze, straining to listen. Silence. Just the pounding of my own heart. I pushed onward, deeper into the heart of the asylum. The whispers returned, insistent, circling me. They seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. My flashlight flickered again, casting grotesque shadows that danced and writhed. My mind raced, conjuring images from the darkness. The whispers grew louder, morphing into distinct voices. They spoke of suffering, of madness, of unspeakable horrors. I was not alone. A chill snaked down my spine. The feeling of being watched intensified. I spun around, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Nothing. But the feeling persisted. Something lurked in the shadows, just beyond my sight, hunting me. Then I saw it. A fleeting glimpse of movement at the edge of the light, a tall, gaunt figure shrouded in darkness. It vanished before I could focus. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end. Adrenaline surged through me, fight or flight. But where could I run? Section 5. A Glimmer of Truth. I stumbled upon a room, untouched by decay. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and forgotten memories. Dust particles danced in the faint light that seeped through the cracks in the walls, creating an almost ethereal atmosphere. It was as if time had stood still in this hidden corner of the world, preserving a moment long lost to the outside. A single chair sat beside a table, illuminated by a lone flickering light bulb. The light cast eerie shadows that seemed to move on their own, playing tricks on my mind. The chair, though simple in design, held an air of significance, as if it had witnessed countless untold stories. I couldn't help but feel a chill run down my spine as I approached the table. Impossible. On the table lay a journal. Its cover was worn and tattered, hinting at the many hands that had held it over the years. The sight of it filled me with a sense of dread and curiosity. What secrets could this old book possibly hold? I hesitated for a moment before reaching out to open it. Its yellowed pages contained a doctor's meticulous handwriting, detailing horrific experiments conducted within these walls. Each entry was more disturbing than the last, describing procedures that defied both ethics and sanity. The doctor wrote with a cold detachment, as if he were merely an observer rather than the orchestrator of these atrocities. My hands trembled as I turned the pages, each word etching itself into my mind. The doctor believed he could control the shadows, harness their power. He was convinced that these dark entities held the key to unlocking unimaginable potential. His notes were filled with diagrams and theories, all pointing to a single, terrifying conclusion. The shadows were alive, and they were growing stronger. The more I read, the more I realized the extent of his madness. He had been consumed by his own hubris, driven to madness. His obsession with the shadows had led him down a path of no return. The journal chronicled his descent into insanity, each entry more erratic and unhinged than the last. It was clear that he had lost touch with reality, his mind twisted by the very darkness he sought to control. I could almost hear his maniacal laughter echoing through the room. I slammed the journal shut, a wave of nausea washing over me. The shadows were real, and they were hungry. The weight of the doctor's revelations pressed down on me, making it hard to breathe. I knew I had to leave this place, but the shadows seemed to cling to me, whispering their dark secrets. As I stumbled out of the room, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that the shadows were following me, waiting for their moment to strike. mine, yet it felt foreign, as if I was looking at a stranger. My eyes were wide with fear, my skin ghostly white. I could see every detail of my face, every line and wrinkle, but there was something off, something that made my heart race and my breath quicken. But something was wrong. The reflection wasn't me, not anymore. The features began to twist and distort, the face in the mirror morphing into something grotesque. It was as if the mirror was revealing a hidden truth, a dark secret that had been buried deep within me. The eyes in the reflection were no longer mine. They were filled with a malevolent intelligence, a knowing that sent chills down my spine. The eyes were filled with a chilling emptiness, a void where my soul should be. They stared back at me with an intensity that was both terrifying and mesmerizing. I couldn't look away, trapped in the gaze of this soulless reflection. It felt as if the mirror was drawing me in, pulling me closer to the darkness that lurked within its depths. The reflection reached out from the mirror, its icy fingers wrapping around my throat. The touch was cold and unyielding, sending a shock of fear through my body. I tried to pull away, but the grip tightened, cutting off my air supply. I could feel the life draining from me, my strength fading as the reflection's hold grew stronger. I gasped for air, my vision blurring. The room around me began to fade, the edges of my sight darkening as I struggled to breathe. My lungs burned and my heart pounded in my chest. I could feel myself slipping away, the world around me becoming a distant memory. The shadows were claiming me, twisting me into something monstrous. I could feel the darkness seeping into my very being, changing me from the inside out. My body contorted, my mind filled with a cacophony of whispers and screams. The shadows wrapped around me like a shroud, their cold embrace suffocating and relentless. I was becoming one of them. The transformation was complete, and I could feel the last remnants of my humanity slipping away. I was no longer myself. I was a creature of the mirror, a twisted reflection of the person I once was. The face in the mirror was now my own, and I knew that I was lost to the darkness forever. Section 7. Trapped. Panic seized me. I had to escape, but the asylum seemed to twist around me, the corridors shifting, leading me in endless circles. I was trapped in a labyrinth of my own fear. The shadows pressed in, their laughter echoing through the halls, mocking me. My flashlight died. Darkness engulfed me. The whispers surrounded me, their voices a chorus of despair. I was lost. I sank to the floor, my sanity unraveling. The shadows had won. Section 8. No escape. Then a voice boomed through the darkness, echoing off the walls and reverberating through my very soul. It was a voice that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once, filling the air with a sense of dread and inevitability. There is no escape. A figure materialized before me, emerging from the shadows as if it had always been there, waiting. Its presence was overwhelming, a dark silhouette that seemed to absorb all light around it. I could feel its eyes on me, though I could not see them. The doctor. But his eyes were vacant, his skin stretched taut over his bones. He looked like a grotesque puppet, controlled by unseen strings. His movements were jerky, unnatural, as if he were being manipulated by some malevolent force. The sight of him filled me with a deep, primal fear. A puppet of the shadows. He reached out, his touch sending a jolt of icy pain through my body. It was as if his very presence was draining the warmth from my soul, leaving me cold and empty. I tried to pull away, but his grip feeding on my fear and despair, but the sound died in my throat. The shadows enveloped me, dragging me down into the abyss. I could feel them wrapping around me, pulling me deeper and deeper into the darkness. It was a sensation of utter helplessness, as if I were being swallowed by the very fabric of the night. There was no light, no hope, only the cold embrace of eternal darkness. I was lost, adrift in an endless void with no sense of time or place. The darkness was all-consuming, a vast, empty expanse that stretched